Hi guys, this is Sunaina in conversation with Murtaza Ali Khan, presented by Craft and Images. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Sunana. Real
Yeah.
pleasure to be with you.
So let's just start with one basic question. How did you start your journey?
See, the journey, it varies from individual to individual. With me, it has been sort of a, topsy-turvy, circuitous journey wherein, I had to take a lot of, right turns, left turns, U-turns, and, ultimately, I'm here and, we are sitting in front of each other and discussing, about cinema and my journey. So how it all happened was that during my engineering years, this is around 2007 2008, I used to spend a lot of time watching world cinema. So that was the time I got introduced to some of the masters of cinema like Akira Kurosawa. I delved into the works of Satyajit Ray, Mrinal Sen, Ritwik Ghatak, and also the American filmmakers, those Spielberg and all. I had already grown up watching them. Jurassic Park happened when I was just 4 years old. But then gradually I got introduced to, say, the Wes Anderson kind of cinema, Francis Ford Coppola's independent work, which came later on after he was done with Godfather. And for some reason, I realized that, watching the films really opened up a whole new world, a whole new horizon for me. And, even sitting in a place, small place in Delhi, I could, see myself, traveling all across the globe, and sometimes even beyond that. If I talk of a film like 2000 A Space Odyssey, or if I
Yeah.
talk about a film like Martian. So 2008 I posted my first review on imdb.com. I had no idea about what film reviewing is all about, but I used to read a lot of stuff, and I was just inspired that why not, I should also give it a go. And I remember back then I was preparing for GRE also. So I was quite high on new vocabulary words which I wanted to put to use. I thought maybe I should pen down a movie review, and I remember the first review that I posted was of The Godfather, and I still remember October 2008. And when I showed it to my friends, they were really surprised that every line has got 2 3 words that, so that they had to refer to the dictionary. So that's when I told them it's because of that GRE effect, and a couple of batchmates of mine were also quite determined. So that's how it actually materialized. The love for cinema, and side by side the preparation for GRE that was going on. So both these things basically, they somehow mingled with each other, and got me going. And once I wrote that review, a lot of people, not mostly in India, but a lot of the people in America, they started, commenting me, because I would post it on Facebook, on various groups, and I made so many interesting people. There's a guy called Martin Bradley. I'm still friends with him. He was among the first few people to support me, and there was a time when he used to review films on BBC. So that gave me a lot of confidence that yes, people, across the globe are liking my work. And I got in touch with a lot of, amazing, fascinating people through, IMDb, through Facebook groups, and a
Yeah.
lot of other forums also. I started writing for Jamura blog. I started writing for, it's like a weekly magazine based out of Calcutta called Frontier Weekly. They would send me print copies through mail. So that used to be a very fascinating experience, that they would pick up my articles, and every month I used to wait for that mail, that a mail will arrive in my mailbox, and I'll open up that good old magazine, hard printed. So
Yeah.
that really got me going.
So how is this as a profession? Like not going for the usual engineering or being a doctor or a teacher. How has this as a profession being like really difficult?
See, one of the biggest challenges of writing and covering cinema is that the initial success is not easy. I can tell you from my experience, and a lot of young people meet me. I go to movie reviews, and I also go to a lot of film and mass communication institutions. I give lectures, I give workshops, and a lot of them want to start a career in film criticism. So I tell them the biggest challenge with the profession like this one is that it's not as structured as some of the other streams of journalism. Let's not even talk about medicine. Let's not even talk about engineering. I'm talking about other disciplines of journalism are quite streamlined. You know that this is how you start, and but with film criticism, the structure is just not there. So the only way forward is that you have to, be in touch with mentor figures. You have to get hold of, critics who have been there, done that. Like in my time, I remember I used to, when I started my blog in 2010-11, I would always, go to Bardharaj Ranjan sir's blog and I would see how he would write. Then I would also, regularly read reviews by Raja Sen. And I realized that, this is something that requires a lot of, thought and a lot of patience. And for that
Yeah.
particular reason, initially I didn't, because I was also in the corporate world for, at least the first 5 years of my journey. So what I did was I actually balanced, between two things because I knew that, in the initial phase, money is not going to come. A lot of senior journalists, who have been writing for some of the major publications right from the 80s, 90s, they told me that Murtaza, if you are here for money, then you're not going to get money. So it's better that you find something stable and, something where you can, have a living. So I realized that I have to do this, but I also knew that money is not going to come by at least during the first 4 5 years. So that's why I stuck to this corporate sort of a thing. So I would go do my job, and in the night and in the weekends, I would watch a lot of stuff and put it up on the blog, send it to Jamura, send it to Dear Cinema, send it to Frontier Weekly. So the biggest challenge is the first 4 5 years. But right now, the kind of digital age that we are living in, the over the last 5 years, I've seen that it takes much less now.
Yeah.
Probably back then the avenues were not there. But today in the digital space, you can really become so many people on YouTube. Who just started say 6 months back, and now they have decent viewership. People are regularly following their reviews. There are IMDb has really taken up. There is Desi Martini out there. So
Yeah.
many opportunities out there. So yes, if you have just 1 year for yourself, then you can plan it up, and you can really end up a pro in that sort of a duration. But probably back in the late 2000s or early 2010s, it used to take much longer. But now with a blog, with a proper Facebook page in place, you can really, with Twitter account, you can really take it and you can go places and without actually. But yes, one thing that hasn't changed is passion and determination. You have to be very, very focused about it. It's not that you review a film once in say 3 months and you hope that you will become. If you
Yeah.
really want to take it up, then watch regularly, write regularly, and the more often you write, the more people will get to know about your work, and then it's all a space. You will compete with some of the best critics in the world. Roger, it's like all these rivers, eventually leading to the ocean. So that's how the approach should be. That you should, think of being a part of that stream, and it has to be, step by step, gradual process rather than it won't happen overnight. But these days it's a little bit easier than it was say 5 years ago.
So talking about the blog, as you said, you own of biggest, like the most talked about famous blog regarding cinema in today's time. How did that idea came up? Like when did you start to decide, okay, now I have to, start writing and I have to own my own blog?
See, fortunately, with my blog, there have been so many awards that I have won, and I have won, all over the world. Like people in, Southern America have, given me. In Mexico, people have, recognized my blog. In Europe, America, India, regularly indie blogger. I used to. These days, Alexa is rating it, as the top movie review blog in the world. So, coming to the idea of writing a blog, as I told you, in 2008, I started reviewing films on IMDb on a regular basis. So, every week I would watch a new film and I would, post my review there. But then I started realizing that, if I keep on posting my reviews only on IMDb, that there are thousands of people who are reviewing films on IMDb. And
Yeah.
most of them are not even serious critics. Like some are just posting like 1 line, 2 line stuff. Oh, boring film. I like the actress. Oh, I like the acting. The director is a cool guy, but it wasn't cinema. Most of the people, and most of the times, those 1 or 2 line reviews were getting as many likes or as many, responses as my full-fledged, 1,000-word reviews were getting. So that's when I realized that, if I have to create a separate identity for myself, then I will have to, think of something more structured, something which has, a more weight as compared to say, I cannot be one of the 1,000 IMDb users. I had to had a distinct identity, and it was also very helpful to to see works of Bardharaj Rangan. There is a very well respected film scholar based out of Trivandrum. His name is Mr. Jugu Abraham, sort of a mentor figure. So he also runs this blog called Movies That Make You Think. That blog also gave me a lot of inspiration, and then I would regularly read stuff by Roger Ebert, and gradually I thought that what if, I also start a blog of mine. Now, technically, I had no idea. So I would, Google stuff, and I would, probably call up some of my friends who knew HTML, and gradually I was able to put this blog together. And within a month, I realized that it was getting, traffic from all over the globe. The first month, the number of views I got were 10,000. And I was like, my God, 10,000 is a good amount, for a blog that is hardly a month old. And that's where, I realized that, this is something that has to happen more and more. And then from 2014 onwards, I started reviewing Bollywood regularly. As I said, initially, it was the hangover of the masters. I would only talk about, so people, the mainstream people, the masses, probably were not as hooked to my blog as some of the people in the West and probably in those European art house circles. But the moment I started reviewing Bollywood, I remember my review of Heather, it went viral, and I got hordes of, comments, and everybody was talking about it. That's when I realized the potential of reviewing, a Bollywood film, and to put it in the right perspective, not a typical, mainstream trash it or like it review, but proper analysis, touching upon things that other people may not. Because, when you are writing for certain newspaper columns, like these days, I also write for a lot of columns, so there is a space constraint. Say there is a 500 word, 600 limit, but blog allows you. So what I do even now is that even with those columns, I am okay with that. But when I get a time, I try to expand them, into long form writers when I can on my blog. People love that, even though we are living in a digital age, people are talking about videos, people are talking about microblogging, but still there is a sense of readership for those long, detailed articles where you analyze different aspects of it. So I've not given up on that. So I think that is something that I would advise and recommend everybody, that you should have that knack also, whenever you are trying to review and analyze a film. You have to do it from different perspectives.
Yeah, I'm sure, sir, this must have been the turning point of your life because your blog is running amongst one of the most famous one and the most talked about. So congratulations on that. Apart from
Thank
that,
you
so
so much.
you've been writing on cinema for such a long time, like for 10 years. So do you think the art of cinema has suffered in the recent times? Like you mentioned about Satyajit Ray, and now we have these commercial movie makers. Like has the art of cinema in between suffered?
A lot of times I also used to feel this, towards the early, 2010s, that, where are we headed? But then, it's all a matter of perspective. I started keeping a very close eye on the festival circuit, and I started traveling, festival circuit all across India. I got to meet a lot of interesting young and upcoming, filmmakers. And I realized that the situation is not as bad as it would seem. Now, the problem is that the mainstream escapist cinema, ultimately ends up getting all the attention, and then we develop this mindset that, oh, we no longer have a Satyajit Ray, we no longer have a Mrinal Sen, because we only keep a check on the mainstream cinema. Having said that, even the mainstream cinema in the recent year has really taken huge leaps. Today we have a Jitendra Kumar, today we have an Ayushmann Khurrana, today we have a Rajkumar Rao, and just imagine, 10 years back, 15 years back, I had no clue that we would reach a time wherein we'll be talking about issue-based films. Think of a film like Badhaiyo. Think of a film like even a film like Andhadhun, about a blind piano player, and it was done in such a realistic fashion. Back in the day, even when a Sanjeev Kumar, great actor, when even he would appear on a film, there was more of a dramatic structure to it rather than realism. But today we are seeing great deal of realism happening. So I also agree, and I somewhere disagree also. I agree with regards to this, approach to mainstream cinema, that probably, yes, our mainstream cinema is not as diverse as it used to be, say, in the time of Basu Chatterjee, Basu Bhattacharya, we had a very rich, layered structure even to the mainstream cinema. So there used to be an out-and-out mainstream cinema. There used to be a middle path cinema, and there used to be, a cinema which is, somewhere, which fades the line between art house and, mainstream. And ultimately, there used to be an absolute art house cinema. Probably, someone like Manikal, in that space, Kumar Shani in that space. So yes, in terms of mainstream cinema, the layering has somewhat suffered. But if you look at the overall, if you look at the bigger picture, probably if you look at the regional cinemas, I'm talking about Bengal, I'm talking about Marathi. If you go to down south, some amazing work happening in Malayalam cinema. at this point in time. Some amazing actors, some amazing filmmakers, are doing their level best. Telugu cinema has really picked up now. It's competing on a day-to-day basis with Bollywood and
Yeah.
also Marathi cinema. I am in touch with so many amazing people in Marathi cinema. You just wait and watch. In just 4 to 5 years, you will realize that Marathi cinema is now at par with the mainstream Hindi cinema, so to say. So you have to understand that situation is not as simple as to say that we have taken a leap back or we have taken a leap forward. It's much complex than that, and that's where a film critic or a film scholar can make things more approachable, more accessible to the masses. And I'm trying my best to do that. From time to time I focus on regional cinema also. I try to interview regional filmmakers also. So I think that is something that we will be able to tell in a more concrete manner, say 2-3 years down the line, when say a Marathi cinema and the Malayalam cinema and other regional cinemas take this next leap, and I think that's going to be very decisive for Hindi cinema also. Will it be able to keep its supremacy, or will it have to go for some major reshuffles now that the regional cinemas are coming very fast, approaching on the supremacy that Bollywood has enjoyed at least for the last 2 decades or so.
So talking about Bollywood, there's this certain movement that's going on called nepotism. What would you comment on that?
See, nepotism, I have always been quite vocal about nepotism. I'll take you back by 2 years. In 2018 August, Vogue India featured a cover of Suhana Khan, and I was in a live debate on NewsX, and the debate had Reena Dhaka, it had the editor of the Cosmopolitan magazine, and it was a quite heated debate. And I told them that this is a very unhealthy habit. I am okay with still a celebrity kid who has some body of work in place. Maybe Suhana Khan, if she had some body of work in place, had she done some serious contribution in the fashion world, or had she done some films, I would have still been okay. But just because you are a celebrity kid and you are appearing on the face of Vogue magazine, that was very unhealthy. And then a lot of people commented that what's wrong with it, everybody has the chance. So I told them that you can also have Hima Das on the cover, you can also have a Mansi Chiller, at least they have a body of work in place. And then people say that there is nepotism in every walk of life, nepotism is in every industry, then why do you curse Bollywood? And then people say that if an ISS kid can be an ISS, why can't an actress kid be? Because the fact of the matter is that they go through a proper entrance exam. There's a rigorous structure in place. Here what happens is that more often than not, you are being provided with it on a piece of platter. You are, say, a celebrity kid, and then you just your poster is there, big posters all over the city, and you are a star overnight. But then people say that they also have to go through the acid test called box office. But I tell them that I'll give you so many examples. Saif Ali Khan is an actor that I really like, and over the years he has proven himself. But you look at the first 10 years of his life, did he even give one solo hit during those 10 years? And he was abysmal, He was probably doing well in decent multi-starers because of the other star cast. But when it came to solo films, he struggled for 10 years. Give me one example of an industry outsider who has no connection to the industry, who is not a son, or a daughter of some big star, that person also got those many chances. Look at Nawazuddin Siddiqui. He struggled, for years and years and years and years, and finally, look at Manoj Vajpayee. Even today, he is really, every day he has to work so hard, and finally he has probably reached a time when people have started acknowledging his work. Look at Pankaj Tripathi, the kind of struggle, the kind of grind he had to go through. You just look at there's so many names in the industry. Let's take the example of Harshvardhan Kapoor. He's still getting opportunities, even though the first few films didn't do well. So the support system works well for the insiders. Support system work well for people who are connected to certain groups or lobbies. There is a Karan Johar lobby, as Kangana Ranaut keeps mentioning. There are these lobbies in Bollywood, and these lobbies are very protective of the people who are a part of that lobby. So if you are a part of one particular lobby, then you will keep getting breaks, you will keep getting opportunities, even though you are not doing well at the box office. If you compare it to a typical outsider, if an outsider is not doing well at the box office, say, I don't want to particularly take out the, what happened to Sushant Singh Rajput, but if you even look at Sushant Singh Rajput's body of work, you will realize that he was, constantly giving good films. But every time his film wouldn't work, people would say that, oh, he's not good enough. Oh, why are you, giving him more and more opportunities? But nobody says that for Siddharth Malhotra. He keeps getting so many opportunities. Nobody says that for Aditya Roy, Kapoor. He keeps getting opportunities, one opportunity after the other. So the support system is there. But unfortunately for the outsiders, it doesn't work in the same manner. And that's why I feel nepotism is a little dangerous, in particular in the case of, an industry like Bollywood or showbiz, because you can become an overnight star here. So there is a great responsibility, and people are, giving away their lives, giving away everything for just one elusive opportunity to, to be a star, to be a filmmaker, and you are not getting that opportunity because of certain, powers that work in the dark, in the background, always lurking, trying to, be following a favoritist approach, which I, strongly oppose, and I feel the time has come that finally people should, rise up to the occasion and finally put an end to it.
Yeah. Sir, as a cinema critic and as a cinema lover, what is one last message that you would want to share with all the cinema lovers out there? Like, what do we look up to?
See, as a film critic, I've always felt that, a filmmaker, or the kind of movies that we watch, they are always as good as the audience is. So as an audience, we need to be more demanding. Over the last 5 years, it has changed greatly. I remember, there used to be completely nonsensical stuff coming out and people would still go and watch it. But now with the advent of, OTT, with the advent of Netflix, and there's a lot of, exposure, our, young audiences have great understanding of American cinema. They have they regularly go to festivals. Because of that, they have developed a greater understanding of cinema. So I feel it's the responsibility of the audiences also to completely outright reject trashy films. Because remember, if you spend your money watching trashy films, that they will use that money to make more trashy films. If you reject trashy films, they will realize their mistake and they will try to come up with something better in the future. So that's how the dynamics work. So as an audience, we need to be more smart, we need to be choosier, and we need to be completely outright, in our rejection or in our acceptance. If there is something bad, then we should outrightly reject it. We should not watch a Race 3 just because there is Salman Khan in that film. If a Race 3 doesn't have a story, if a Race 3, and I'm not just talking about Race 3, there are so many other trashy films out there. If you feel that, a film is not good enough, just reject it there and then, so that the makers realize their mistakes and try and, come up with something better in the future. But if you keep on watching trash, they will, give you more trash, and our cinema will never evolve.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. It was such a knowledgeable conversation, and I hope cinema lovers and art lovers out there do find this interview really enriching. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we all hope that you get more love and success from all the cinema lovers out there. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir.
Thank you so much. It was really pleasure talking and discussing my journey in cinema with you. Thank you so much, and a very best of luck and safe and good health to all your viewers.